Hi, welcome back to Talking with Katie. We have Katie here at WHSK campus, Bloomsburg, and today's podcast is going to be pertaining to asynchronous classes, and the main leading theme is that are asynchronous classes really helping students, or are they having a negative effect on their learning and their future? So our guiding questions here are: does the lack of teacher regulation make it harder for students to get work done on time? Do you feel engaged in classwork? Is communication with your teacher easy? How do you perform in asynchronous classes compared to your in-person classes? Do you feel a disconnect between you and your classmates or you and your teacher? Are you motivated in this class? And have you ever used some sort of lookup or AI lookup to complete an assignment? So I was able to interview 3 interviewees, and here are their answers. Hello, today I'm here with
Claire.
Claire, can you tell me what your major is?
I'm a nursing major.
And what class are you taking that is asynchronous?
Lifespan development with Dr. Talbot.
All right. So I'm just going to ask you a few questions today about how you feel and your motivation is in asynchronous classes. So the first question I want to ask you is, how much time a week do you spend doing your asynchronous coursework?
I spend about maybe an hour and a half every week completing my coursework.
And is yours split up by chapters, units, or just by assignments?
It's split up by quizzes, but a chapter goes with the quiz.
And what in-person classes are you taking also this semester?
I am taking anatomy and physiology too. I'm taking comparative politics and statistics and sociology.
Okay. And how motivated do you feel to complete this classwork? Do you kind of just brush it off to the side and try and get it done by the due date, or do you feel like you diligently are completing assignments?
I honestly think I brush it off just because there's not a lot of accountability with, there's like no attendance for classes and stuff, so it's really low on my list of things I need to do.
I feel. Do you feel a disconnect between this class and your in-person class, kind of just with what you said?
I do, yes.
Okay. And would you say this class is easier because it is asynchronous?
I think the general coursework is easier, but then when it comes to exams, I think it's harder because I'm not as present during the actual learning curriculum.
Okay. And have you ever used AI to complete an assignment in this class?
I haven't used AI, but I've searched up answers to quizzes.
That was actually my next question. Have you ever looked up answers? And does your professor use anti-AI methods to check work for plagiarism?
No, because they're multiple choice,
Okay.
but our exams are lockdown browser.
Okay. And does your professor try and make it engaging despite their actual presence missing?
I think so. I know his lecture videos, he is very, expressive, and I think I'd really like him as an in-person professor, but it is kind of just boring because it's not face-to-face.
Yeah. And do you think that if this class, is this a required course for you?
Yes, it is.
Do you think that if this class was offered in person, you would take it over online?
Yes, probably.
Okay. All right. And let's see. Do you think you would say that communication with your teacher is easy? Are they easy to reach by email?
I've actually never had an email conversation with my professor, but he has said that his emails are open and he's willing to help. So if I were to reach out, I think it would be really easy.
Easy. All right. Well, thank you for meeting with me today, and it was great to feel and see your views on asynchronous classes.
Thank you.
Hello. Who am I here with today?
My name's Carly.
So, Carly, what is your major here?
My major is nursing.
And what class are you taking that is asynchronous, and what's the professor's name?
I'm currently taking world music, and my professor's name is Professor Grass.
Okay. So how much time a week do you feel that you spend doing your asynchronous coursework?
I normally spend up to 2 hours total, but I spread it out throughout the week.
Okay. And what in-person classes are you taking as well this semester?
I have anatomy and physiology. I have child development, interpersonal communications, and then I have world music and lifespan online.
Okay. And how motivated do you feel to complete this classwork?
Compared to my in-person, I would say less motivated, but it all has to get done eventually, so the motivation has to be there somewhere.
Okay. And do you feel a disconnect between this class and your in-person classes?
I would say it's a lot less like hard to like pay attention to it and like actually sit down and focus on it, unlike the in-person, like you're there for a strict amount of time and you like actually have to pay attention to it.
Okay. Would you say this class is easier because it is asynchronous?
Yes, I would say so.
Okay. Have you ever used AI or looked up answers to complete classwork or an assignment?
I've never used AI, but a lot of my assignments have Quizlets that help with correct answers. So I tried doing the assignment and then I'll double check it with the Quizlets I can find.
Okay. And does your teacher use anti-AI methods to check work for plagiarism or use Lockdown Browser for exams and quizzes?
We do not use Lockdown Browser, and I'm not sure. I would assume they use AI-generated things, as many professors do.
Does your professor try and make it engaging despite their actual presence missing?
Yes, my professor sends out lots of emails and is very good with communication. He also loves to like hold Zooms and like Jeopardy reviews in case like we need help before we like take our big exam. So I would say they're very interactive.
Oh, that's good. Who am I here with today?
Mia,
Okay, Mia, what is your major?
medical imaging.
And what class did you take that was asynchronous, and what was your professor's name?
I took Spanish, and my professor's name was Arango Keith.
Okay. How much time a week do you feel that you spend doing your asynchronous coursework?
Too long.
Too long.
It would be literally forever. It'd be like, I don't know, like half the day, mostly, like 6 hours probably.
Every day?
No, just one day a week, though.
Okay.
I'd get it all done at once.
And what in-person classes were you taking or are you taking compared?
I had anatomy, communications, and medical ethics.
Okay. And how motivated do you feel to complete this classwork?
Never motivated.
Never motivated. And do you feel that there's a disconnect between this classes and your in-person classes?
Yes.
Okay. Would you say this class is easier because it's asynchronous or harder because you didn't have the presence of a teacher?
I think it was probably harder just because it was like a different language and like she wasn't like actually teaching. It was just like slideshows, you know, to like just like learn, like read from the slideshows. So I didn't